too, besides that one? Or you had more
Yeah,
than,
yeah, there was other bears.
that are in the record book? Or
Well,
is that
yeah,
the only one?
they would have made the Pope and Young record, but I didn't put them in there because I didn't, I felt, I wasn't trying to be a record guy, trying to do, I shot one up by Seeley Lake one time that would have made the record book, the Pope and Young. And another one down at Point of Rocks, I shot one down there too that would have been in the record book. And
Where's that at? Where's
that's in between Gardner and Livingston.
Okay.
Yeah, and then a couple more I shot too. So 5 altogether, but
Yeah.
no big thing. And believe it or not, I was very fortunate enough that one arrow for each bear. I didn't
Wow.
have to shoot them with a
Well, what was the biggest fish you ever caught?
biggest fish.
Yeah.
In Alaska, the first I've caught 2 huge ones. I call them huge, they're big. My friends in Livingston, I told them I'm going to Alaska and I'm going to catch a fish as big as me. And my buddies, we used to have coffee and stuff together, so they started laughing. Oh yeah, well, you might catch a salmon that weighed maybe 12, 14, 16 pounds. I said, no, I'm going to catch one of those halibut, and I'd never been up there before. So in 1993, I went to Alaska. I went to the Forest Service to find out on Prince of Wales Island where to go, and I met this guy there, and named Wally Greentree of all things. He became my good friend later, but then they were telling me where to go to fish for halibut. They came and looked at my equipment and stuff and said, yeah, you got a pole, that'll do it there. Okay, so Wally Greentree lived in Thorn Bay, and so he said, well, come on up to my house tomorrow. I'll be off and we'll go out fishing. So I did, and lo and behold, I caught the first halibut that I ever caught weighed 143 pounds.
Wow.
So then I was all excited. Long story, the whole thing, but that was funny. And then, so I got back, filleted it. They showed me how to fillet it, and these people up there. And you freeze it and everything. And then I brought it all back home, and I was giving out halibut steaks to everybody in town. And I went uptown. Then I got to thinking, I should go up to the newspaper and tell them about this big fish I caught. I was pretty proud of it. Weighed the same weight that I did then, 143 pounds. And so I went down to the Livingston Enterprise, and I went into the sports guide. I don't remember his name, but anyway, I started telling him about it. He said, well, have you got any pictures? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, well, let's see them. I have 6 or 8 pictures. I've got more than just that one right there, okay? But so I showed him the picture. Oh my God, he says, heaven's sakes, unless we got to put this in the sport, in the Livingston paper. I said, okay, that's fine. And then I had told my friends that I was going to catch a big fish, see, so they were all kidding me.
How much did you weigh at the time? How much did you weigh at the time?
143 pounds.
So it was the same weight. Okay.
Same weight as the fish.
I love it.
Which was amazing. And everybody got a kick out of that too. So then I thought, because see, I'd go up and meet all my buddies there, and we'd have coffee and donuts and stuff, okay? Up in Livingston, up that one little bar cafe thing in town, right on Park Street. And it was so funny, so I waited, and the next day, this guy, he got all of the stuff out, and he had the article in the paper. So then I waited till after that had come out, and then I went up there the next morning, and I already had the picture, from the newspaper and stuff, plus the other pictures I had. Okay.
You took it to coffee?
Yeah, and I come walking in there, and all the guys were sitting there like this. And they're thinking, oh my God. So I said, well, what did you guys think about this? Did you read the paper? And they all had a paper. They all had every one of them. They all had a paper. Yeah, you want to read my paper?
So you caught one bigger than that, though.
Yes, I did, later. I went up there, I've been up there 5 times in the same area. And I was by myself, you live and learn, and so I was in my own little 14-foot boat at the time. And I went out in Kaufman Cove, anywhere to go, and I could catch halibut like nobody else, I guess. That's what everybody has told me, and I found out this is really true. So I used what's called a squirm worm. I've got one of them in the drawer back there. I could show it to you, but like what I used to catch them, and I know where to go and how to do it. Well, and I was by myself. I didn't have any weapon. When I caught that first one, Wally had a .22, and he shot it 3 times and still didn't kill it. And we pulled it up in the boat, and it almost got Wally with his tail flopping around. But anyway, that's something else. Anyway, this other time, I hooked this great big one. I knew it was a big one. I could tell by the pole on the pole, and that pole is right up here on the wall still. So I thought, you know, there was no way when I finally, it took me, I don't know, 40, 45 minutes to get this thing from 90 feet down up to the surface of the water to look at it, and it was like a monster. It was half as big as what my boat was, and so I thought, you know how you kind of talk to yourself a little bit. I didn't say it out loud, I guess, but my mind is going pretty good, and I'm thinking, you know, there's no way in the world that I can get this thing up there and hit it in the head or gaff it and take it in with me. And I'm not out there too far. I'm out in Coffin Cove. I'm out there maybe a third of a mile at the most, not even that far really. And I can see some cabins over there and part of the little Coffin Cove, the store stuff and everything. So I started towing it with my boat. So I'm hanging onto the pole and running the motor at the same time, and I'm heading to the shore, and I thought, my thought was, beach the fish, and then try to pull it up on the bank. And then I knew I could get it. Well, and what happened was this. I revved the motor up, but when I'm coming in, there was 2 ladies in a little cabin, and they were standing out on their porch, and they're watching me. And the fish is going like this, and it's making my boat go like that, back and forth, swailing back and forth. And so consequently, the 2 ladies that were watching me, they thought I was drunk. And so they were over there laughing. I could hear them laughing, and they weren't very far away. And I revved up my motor then on the little 14-foot boat I had, and I went brrr. And I ran the boat part way up on what they call the grass. That's just confetti on the growth on the side of where the ocean tide comes up and down. And I ran it up on there, and I jumped out with my big gaff hook. I've got the gaff hook in the other room in there still, and I gaffed the big fish. And I fell down 3 times trying to drag it up. Well, it kept flopping, you know, so every time it would flop, I could get it another foot or 2 up on the bank. Well, I finally accomplished all of that, and the 2 ladies are still laughing at me, and they didn't even come down there and help me. I found out later from talking to them that I said, why didn't you ladies come and help me? After I had the fish up on the bank. Oh, and then another thing, just prior to that, I turned around and looked, and my boat's starting to drift back out in the ocean. I had to jump back in and swim to get my boat and bring it back up, and then I got it anchored down there, so I was okay, and all wet though. But I went up and asked the ladies, why didn't you ladies come and help me? And you know what they told? You wouldn't believe what they said. They said to me, Les, that's the funniest thing we've seen up here in the years and years.
How big was the fish?
And the fish was 276 pounds. I had to go, they were busy doing something, those 2 ladies, and I said, well, will you watch my fish? And I got my boat all anchored down there, but I'll get my little pickup, and I'm going to go down there and get this guy and his wife to come and help me, because I can't hardly drag that thing, it's too big. And they said, yeah, it is a big one. They went and looked at it too. So then, this man and his wife, they were from Florida, up there fishing in Alaska. And I had met them at the little campsite up there, you know, that's how I knew who they were. And so, they come up there with me, and the 3 of us, we drug the fish, the whole monster, down to where the dock is, where you put it up on the huge table to fillet it. And down there they have this great big scales, it's got a big monster hook on it. And then you pull the head up on there, put it underneath the gill, and you crank on it, and it raises it up in the air. It's 276 pounds.
That's amazing. That's twice as big as the first one.
Yeah, twice as big as the first one, yeah. And now, as I understand from friends of mine that I've talked to, you cannot catch the big ones. Anything, when I'd catch a halibut up there then, anything 40 pounds, up to 40 pounds, I'd throw it back in. I'd catch a 34-pounder or something like that. I'd throw it back in again.
Hmm.
So, but it was exciting, and I took a couple of my friends up there over. I've been there 5 times, and it's a good place to go. And I still remember exactly where the places are and what to do and how to do it.
Well, now let's go back now to Korea.
Okay.
You were a pilot.